Hello guys, good day. This is Anne of Reinforcement Club, your fellow positive reinforcer. Today we're going to talk about modesty. Confidence without noise. I'm talking about, being not too proud about yourself, your talent, your wealth, your strength. Modesty is often misunderstood nowadays because it can be interpreted as shyness, weakness, or repression of how great you are. You're not a loud person. You don't want to be the center of attraction, a center of attention, shall I say. You want privacy. You want time for yourself. You don't want any noise. Refining modesty is a form of a power in a way of quiet confidence. It means you are secured in yourself without needing to broadcast it, to make it live in the social media. You want to keep it to yourself. But you can perform, you can let it out as needed or when needed. Or it could be by the time you are, there's time for everything when you're about to perform your job. When it's time, right time. Redefining modesty is a kind of a self-expression without self-exposure. As you can see, some Hollywood actors just prefer to be modest. They don't need luxurious lifestyle. They live in the same house, using the same car for over 10 years. Some of them, though, like Christian Bale, he used to live in a one-bedroom apartment, driving the same car for over 10 years. That's modesty. Simplicity in life. And just privacy in all aspects. Wherever you go, you're the great of the greats, but you don't want any exposure. You don't want to broadcast every aspect of your life, whatever you do. You don't need to put it out to upload it in social media. Modesty is a reflection of strength, of it could be your class, the kind of person you are, and your awareness about your, the consequences of your actions. Your self-awareness. You know that you're great, but you don't. You try to limit. You build boundaries of what you can tolerate, what you can do, and what you can't, because you are looking after your own well-being, and having too much exposure to social media, too much attention, and somehow it's going to hinder your. Sometimes you just want to be just yourself, and if you are too famous, like superstars, you don't even have time to be just yourself, because there a lot of people waiting outside to take shots about you, and you become the headline. Sometimes you have to be, all the time you got to be self-aware. You got to be careful about what you're doing, what you're saying. You can't be yourself anymore, because whatever you do, it's going to be uploaded to the public. And of course, when you're a modest person, you don't want that. You want to be yourself. You want to be happy. You want the kind of self-expression that suits you. And sometimes, too much media exposure can actually steal that away from you. That's the downside. Fame is not forever. But greatness and modesty, if you know how to control yourself, then you can take care of that greatness that you have without losing it to fame. Modesty also means resisting pressure to overshare, kind of way, over reveal or over perform, just for the sake of it, just to tell people, when you overperform, to tell people how great you are, and then everybody's following you, and you're gonna become the talk of the town. Well, it would be great if you become the talk of a town if it's positive, but what if it's actually going to already invade your personal life? Well, talk of the town, positive aspect. Well, you could be happy. That'll be that'll be great. But what if we people ain't perfect. What if it's already invading your personal life, and it's going to expose yourself, that people have different impressions about you, to the point that they're going to interpret you in the wrong way, and then your family will be just got involved about it, and it's no more privacy anymore. You can't be yourself, and it's no happiness. It's not freedom. It's a restrictive kind of life that you're gonna be looking after yourself all the time. So that is why modesty is important, because you yourself are in control. You know that you're great. You know that you're great in acting. You're great. You're a great director. You're a great pianist. You're talented. But there's a limit to what you can expose. And of course, in the most part, you cannot overshare your personal life, because it involves your personal relationships, personal choices, your travel, could be your personal health issues. Especially if you're, okay, it's all right if you're a healthy enthusiast, but what if you get sick? Sometimes we just want to keep it to ourselves in a period of time, and then suddenly other people will just invade your privacy, and then expose it to the public. So, well, you got the fame, you got the money, but if you're not modest enough to put a boundaries of what you can share, what other people can have, then you're going to be in trouble in some point. Even though you're famous, you're rich, everybody has a problem. But in the most part, though, it's important to really control yourself. Modesty is also a form of self-control. Modesty is confidence without noise. I would say it this way, because when you're modest, you don't need to be loud to be powerful. You are calm and reassured rather than, attention seeking. Exposing yourself, uploading whatever you do into social media, to the point that you can't be yourself anymore. You can't be your real self anymore. Modesty is a kind of way wherein you are aiming for respect, not for attention. It is a confidence that is rooted in identity, not in the approval of others. That you just want to be respected in terms of your personal life, your privacy, being yourself. You want to own that. And there's a limit for other people, to invade your privacy. That's a big no-no to you. You want to give people the things that you just want to give. Other than that, nothing at all. That's it. It is what it is. You own what you have. You own your personal life. You own your choices. Not to the point that people owns you. And why is it, why is modesty, this kind of message, matters today? In this modern culture, modesty is kind of a confusion, because this time visibility has already a value. Like when you are famous online in the social media, if you have over 1 million of views about what you did, it could be good, bad, or ugly. If you have millions of views, whether you're getting a money out of it, you went viral. You could say that, you have a value. Then what you actually did, you just became famous of what, about that kind of that in that video. It just went viral. Whether you have a credit or not, it's just you value it, but there's nothing really in it. Did you ever change the world? The great things are built in time, built with consistency, with discipline. And when you went viral, I don't know, it was just there's a lot of views there, and you could get a couple of bucks from it. But what was really it is about? Does it have some value? Did you relay a wonderful message to the public? Did you help the 7 billion people in the planet? What I'm trying to say is look, it's attention is different from respect. Self-respect and aiming for respect from other people. Because sometimes attention could cross the line. It could invade your personal life, your choices, and people could think about anything about you. And when you go out there, people could see you, people could know you, and whatever you do, everything will be just exposed. And you can't even choose the life that you want anymore because you are exposed, because you went viral. And the cost, the downside of being famous is just in some point, if you don't draw a line, if you don't set boundaries from it, it's gonna eat you, or eat your choices, eat your personal life, whatever you have there. These days, people crave more attention than the depth of the message. Instead, we're supposed to be looking forward or doing something in a purpose, but instead, we're aiming for popularity. The way, getting viral. And modesty means, when you know how to draw boundaries about what is too much already. You want respect, you want authenticity, you want yourself, you want your personal life over entertainment, over performance, over money, over attention, over the flaw that what people value nowadays, attention, self-seeking for views, and you don't get anything from it anyway. So if I see you drinking a Sprite without a break, like straight a bottle drinking Sprite, and you just puke somewhere, you made it. But gosh, what can you get from it? Modesty isn't a weakness. It's a wise way of self-control. Modesty is confidence, but it's not always loud. It's often quiet, grounded, and powerful. By your mere presence there, when the right time, when you do your job, it's all soft. I mean, people, musicians perform in the orchestra. You can imagine Metallica playing all their life on the stage, and it's just so amazing. They don't have to do that to put out everything, how they cook, how they do their dishes, how they communicate to their spouses. They don't overdo that. They're just there to perform and show the world their talent in the right time. You can still stand out, by standing still, not over talking, not grabbing attention. Without even shouting, you can still stand out. True confidence and influence comes from restraint, not spectacle. Now, examples of being modest is, speaking less but saying more. You explain things. You say it in one sentence, but you do it more. Sometimes you overdo it so people could understand what you're talking about. You say less, you do more. Then you explain. If some people need further explanation, you explain, but you do what you say. And that's also another way of leading with integrity, not ego. If you're a modest person, you're also practicing humility without diminishing your worth. In other words, you're still going to stand out if you know how to discipline yourself, if you're aware about what you can give to others without sacrificing your self-worth. Your needs, your personal needs, personal choices. You don't overdo. You know how to keep your act together. With or without the spotlight, you're still gonna shine. Quiet, talented, confident. When is the perfect time to show off how great you are. So I hope I've shared something valuable today. If you ever love this message, you can share it to your family and friends. You can follow me in YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, even an X. Reinforce Me Club, by the way. This is Anne, your fellow positive reinforcer. I do appreciate your time and have a lovely day ahead. Thank you.